Hello and welcome back to the Double M Radio Gamescast. As always, I am your host Ryan, and I'm joined today by my lovely cohort of co-hosts, Alex,
Hi, I've ruined the beard ratio again, and I need to shave.
Wyatt,
I shaved specifically for the episode so I could keep the ratio, Alex.
and Brett.
I also trimmed my beard today, but in a barely noticeable fashion.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Absolutely wonderful start to the show. It's episode number 74. We're going to be talking about Gamescom and some news from the show, as well as our opinions on reboots after the whole wake of the Saints Row reboot being announced and having mixed opinions from what I've seen, but a lot of excitement as well. So, is everyone excited, ready to jump in and not talk about Blizzard?
I am positively am, Brian. Thank you for asking.
Well, that's too bad because we got to talk about Blizzard. So, because Blizzard did a thing. This time Blizzard did probably, this is probably the right choice, but Jesse Mccree is a character in Overwatch. Yes? The
Yes.
cowboy man everyone's aware of. Jesse
Gone
Mccree
Overwatch, yes?
was named after a company employee who is a predator. So, Jesse Mccree is going to be renamed.
Kind of like throwing a stone and you're going to hit a predator there.
And they have said that they will no longer talk about, they will no longer name characters after company employees.
Just in case. At
We
this
don't do
point,
thorough-
just in case.
We don't do thorough enough background checks, so...
I don't know. This is the kind of thing where I'm like, man, they totally should change the name because what real life Jesse Mccree did, awful. What fictional Jesse Mccree as a name, that's a good cowboy name.
I know.
Yeah.
It's,
I know.
It sucks because that is legitimately a good cowboy name.
Well, and it was weird too because I assumed people are like, oh yeah, like a character in Overwatch, he was named after employees. Like, oh, I guess the employee's name is Jesse. No, his full name is Jesse.
Yeah,
McCree.
Jesse McCree.
Yeah.
Renaming him to Jonathan McAfee.
I do wonder if they're going to
That would be pretty
change
cool.
both names or just like the first name.
Because
Because McCree is like so ingrained in a lot of the advertising and whatnot in
Yeah.
Overwatch that I don't know if they can without taking a huge monetary hit, but they're already taking a huge monetary hit from all this, and
Yeah.
Overwatch isn't being updated anymore until Overwatch 2 comes out, so
Well, now imagine you're one of like the three
still
people in
coming
the
out?
world that haven't played it before, right? And so you want to
Yeah.
watch all of like the little CG shorts. Yes, we know, Brett, we know. And you want to like watch a lot of the CG shorts to like get caught up on the story and the characters. Are they gonna have to go back and change those now? Because there's one specifically
yeah.
about McCree.
Is
So
there a
like,
CG
there's
short
like
for all the
two
characters
with
now?
McCree
I
in
saw
them.
like...
not
quite
of all the
heavily.
characters, but a lot of the big ones. And McCree was one of them.
Yeah.
It was
The-
introducing Ash when Ash came out, right?
The
So-
only two I've seen are Bastion and Reinhardt or something like that, I think.
yeah, those are some of the originals, but McCree has
Yeah.
been in a lot of the promotional stuff since then. And he's also a big fan favorite character because people
I feel
love
like if
McCree's
I feel like
like
if-
ultimate and stuff.
if you're not even a fan of like Overwatch as a game, the shorts themselves are actually really well made.
Oh yeah, like I think even if you don't like Overwatch, the shorts can be worth a watch because they're fun. They're neat little
especially
5-minute
Lord,
short films essentially.
especially Bastions. That I feel
Or
like that
very
messed a lot
sad
of
in
people up
Bastion's
big time.
case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great. I wonder what they're gonna do about this because there is a lot of work that'll be involved in renaming all this stuff, and especially things like getting players to not use McCree as a name anymore would be really hard. So
Yeah.
I wonder how they're gonna treat it.
I'm also going to assume they're not going to name it after another employee. They're
Oh
probably
yeah,
going
they
to.
said
Yeah,
they're
they
not
said
going
they
to
wouldn't.
name characters
Okay.
after employees, period, anymore because that's probably a bad idea in general.
Which says more about your company if like, whatever, and it's a risky
that's what I
move
thought.
regardless. But like, if you have to stop doing that because every person that you name your character after is a horrible person, that probably says a lot about
Yeah,
you.
that's rough. It's a rough Blizzard situation.
Our employee Ted Bundy went and did it again.
Oh no. So there are more rumors. Speaking to Alex saying, is Overwatch 2 still coming out? So there's another rumor floating around. Now, this rumor, I'm going to predicate this with I don't think it's true, and I wouldn't put a lot of stock in it because it is not from a super reliable source. It's just kind of been floating around on the internet. Is that Blizzard might be in the process of being dissolved and reformed into something called Insight.
Oh
Oh,
my, that's
Now-
weird.
what?
You're right. It's spicy.
That's
but it's
already
not
weird.
reliable.
That's already weird enough, but there's more to this that makes it harder to believe. The only reason I think this rumor is getting traction is because of all the stuff going on. I don't think this is
Yeah.
happening because
Mhm.
Activision Insight also sounds bad, right? Like
Yeah.
after all this
Yeah,
harassment
really?
stuff,
Really?
calling a company
Insight?
Insight is not a good look. And they're saying that what will happen is Overwatch 2 will be canceled. Any of the work already done on new maps is going to be ported to Overwatch 1 as like a free final update to the game, and then it'll be shuttered, put in maintenance mode. World of Warcraft is going to go into maintenance mode.
Jesus.
So that's
This
those two are
sounds-
already pretty hard heavy.
Yeah, it sounds too good to be true. It sounds like that's
Yeah.
like a lot. That's a little crazy. I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
more
I
is
don't know
like
about that.
StarCraft completely dead. It kind of already is, but StarCraft.
It sounds like they're being somewhat
actually dead.
proactive. It sounds like they're being somewhat proactive about the situation, which makes me think it's not real. 'Cause
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
well, I
Yeah.
also think it's like financially a lot of this doesn't make sense because right, Overwatch is one of the highest grossing games Blizzard has put out, so why would they cancel the second one, even if it's not going to shape out great? At this point, they can probably. I doubt they care
Ugh.
what the critical reception of that game is, as long as it sells well.
Right.
So, I doubt that would waste all that work, and they also had said that Diablo would become the new like flagship Blizzard franchise. And I don't see them abandoning MMOs so easily.
This sounds like some Diablo fanboys like wet dream that they're like trying to push as reality.
No, guys, believe me, it's
Super
real.
weird.
It's true.
well, also like with just reshuffling and like all this stuff, that wouldn't really solve the problem. Like the problem
No.
is you have to get rid of the people that are causing the problem and the people.
Well,
that are
that was what
allowing
they
it
were
to
saying is that
happen.
they were going to
No,
fire like
game.
everyone
Oh,
except the
okay,
Diablo
okay.
team and the
That's
people
the
from Vicarious
dissolving
Visions
thing.
that came over.
Okay.
So it would be blank slate except for Diablo, because the Diablo team I think has had relatively few of these issues compared to other areas, but I'm sure
Only
they're still
50%
very
It's
of the
impactful.
employees
relative.
on the Diablo team.
There have not been any major high profile issues with the Diablo team, which is not saying there's not problems, but
It's saying they
as
haven't
high
been found
profile.
yet.
Great job. You get the least sucks award. Fantastic. Good for you.
They also have intensified the stake against, or the lawsuit against Blizzard, saying that they were hiding information and that some employees shredded documents.
Oh yeah.
Right? California has increased the lawsuit.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact details of this because I'm not a lawyer. They have essentially done some more lawsuity things because I think it's the terminology was rewritten because of the fact that Blizzard had supposedly done some sketchy stuff with documents and hiding evidence, which is, really bad.
Really cool.
Kinda
To
not
do
supposed
during
to
a
do that when
lawsuit.
you're under investigation.
Especially when it's by the government. So it's bad look all around. All right, now we can stop talking about Blizzard
Thank God.
Thank God.
and get out of
Thank
the Blizzard zone. I don't like being there. It's a bad zone to be in.
Like being in the Blizzard zone.
Get me out of the Blizzard town. All right. So we had some games things happen recently. Has anyone here?
Oh, did they?
Is anyone here familiar with a little known actor by the name of Norman Reedus?
I've
a bit.
never heard of that.
Why
name
did I raise
before.
my
Who is
hand?
that?
Raise your- we have video.
Yes,
it works.
Professor.
So Norman Reedus did an interview with IGN Brazil and let slip, maybe intentionally, maybe not, that there are negotiations underway supposedly for a Death Stranding 2.
Okay.
Now, what this means, this could mean a lot of things. It could be that Norman Reedus is still just working on a project with Hideo Kojima and that studio,
Yeah.
and maybe assumed it's Death Stranding 2.
They aren't done hanging out yet.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you have the opportunity to hang out with Kojima or Reedus, especially if you're Kojima or Reedus and want to hang out with the other one, why would
Yeah.
you stop?
Well, the best case
There's no
scenario
reason.
is that you're none of those people, but you get to hang out with them at the same time. That's
Yeah.
the best case scenario.
Mads
Absolutely.
Mikkelsen. Assuming, I don't know, I haven't played the full game. I don't know if his character dies or not.
I have no clue. We're not.
I don't even think if any of us even know if Death Stranding is even conducive to a sequel, like an actual normal sequel
I
or
Well,
haven't
something.
because
made it
I
yet.
got like
Crazy.
halfway through, and then I was like, well, they're coming out with the director's cut soon, so I'm just gonna wait to finish it until the director's cut comes out. Because it's not that far away. I think it's in November or something.
Do we
so
do we know,
Very soon, yeah.
do we know if it's like a Tsushima thing where you can upgrade the PS4
I think
version? you
I
already
think they
have?
said it's a $10 upgrade, so it's cheaper
Okay.
than Tsushima.
It's not bad.
Well, I
If-
didn't
if
know
I
if it was
recall
going to be
correctly.
because like if I can upgrade it, that's great.
Well, because the
So, like-
upgrade to the PS5 version is free, but
Okay.
the director's cut itself is its own thing that I think
Okay.
you have to buy, but you get like a huge discount on it if you own.
Because
copy.
I mean, I know the PC guys have had this for a while. I just want to play the game at 60 frames per second. That's kind of all I
Yeah.
want.
Dude, I want to do the racing circuit so badly. Give me the fragile
I want to
circuit.
launch my cargo across the map. That sounds like fun. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. That sounds
Speaking
like
of Gamescom, they showed footage of it at Gamescom, and it looks very fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just goofy enough to be like, I get why this wasn't in the game when it came, because I don't think it's conducive to the tone of the game, but it is very much a fun Kojima.
because if there's anything that Kojima isn't, it's goofy. Okay, his stuff is
He's
never.
extremely serious.
Yes.
No, I mean, come on, giant burning flying wheels in the sky.
and running around in a
Upset.
chicken suit that gives you stealth bonuses. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
or just hiding under a box. Like, let's go back.
I mean,
to
are you
basics.
telling me if I was looking for you, you wouldn't hide under a cardboard box?
It's probably the most memed on thing in that entire franchise.
What
is the
about-
box.
what about,
outside of Raiden's luscious hair? It's probably the most memed on thing.
What about
Let's be real.
inflatable versions of yourself used to distract people?
Hey. Works every
I
time.
mean, that's purely realistic.
or pinup posters to like draw people to a certain area.
Look, I've been going back and playing Metal Gear 5 just in my free time. I went back and did Ground Zeroes. That game is still really good. Like,
It's
Full thing
really
drop
good.
every
It's
enemy.
that weird thing of like I really enjoy it when I play it, but it's so like dense that I have to take really long breaks in between because there's just like there's so much happening.
But
if that makes sense.
do you feel the phantom pain when you're away from it, Wyatt?
I feel the phantom pain while I'm playing it.
Well, that's the intent. There you go.
Mission accomplished.
So yeah, that's most of our news this week. It was a light news week, aside from there was some bit about Tim Sweeney at Epic going over the fact that their contracts are nice because even if someone violates the rules of the contract, they don't just break it. So if you're developing a game with Epic in Unreal Engine, even if you violate the terms, you can still do it. It's very
What
dense.
happened? What happened with the whole Apple versus Epic?
We
thing?
do.
Did we?
We have an update on that. So we don't know if this is because of the lawsuit, but presumably it is. Apple is going to start allowing third-party payments in their stuff.
Oh.
So
Wow,
I
we're
don't
so
think
proud of you.
this is probably because of the lawsuit, but we don't know because I don't think it's been said yet. But yeah, that was an article that came out a few days ago that Apple is going to start allowing third-party payments because they're
Because they were forced to.
nice.
There is
That's
a there's a bit of news. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the developer off the top of my head, but they released a kind of it's not walking simulator. It's kind of like a first-person horror game, kind of like an Outlast type of deal, right?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
released-
about.
Yeah, released on Steam. It's been getting really good reviews. However, the game is about an hour and a half long, so people would play the whole thing, and because it's less than 2 hours, they would just return it after playing the whole thing. And so they lost a ginormous amount of money from that, and so they're just not making games for Steam anymore at all. Because
Yeah,
Can't
so
blame them.
I
it's a
will
big
read out the
financial
tweet for
hit.
this because it
Please
is
do.
an interesting tweet. The game in question is Summer of '58. It's made by Imika Games, and this person is not just leaving Steam games; they are leaving game development. Period.
Oh.
They've said this is like
Crap.
their final straw, so they are outs of game development. It says, "Friends, thanks for your support. I'm leaving game development for an indefinite time to collect my thoughts. The fact is that my game Summer of '58 does not reach 2 hours of playing time by Steam standards. In this regard, a huge number of returns on the game, even with positive reviews, and I do not earn anything to create a new game. Thank you very much for supporting me. I'm glad that you like my games, but since I have no conditions to do something new, I have to do something else. I will immediately answer anyone who asks about from day to day. This game will not see the light of day in the near future. See you later." So, this is a complicated situation because there are other games on Steam that don't take 2 hours to complete that have not had this problem.
Do you think it's just scummy people returning it?
Well, that is
Yeah.
what the developer says is the problem, is that people can easily return it within 2 hours. Now, Steam, when they implemented this policy, said they expected that this could happen, and their solution, quote-unquote solution, was that they trusted that players would not refund things like that, and that they would not just honor those refunds.
Never trust players.
Well, they also said along those lines, if someone does that repeatedly, their account gets locked out of refunds. So you can't do it anymore if you abuse the refund system in that way. So
okay, but a lot of people did that to one game and they ruined a person's livelihood.
Yeah, but I think the thing here is that there might be other reasons why the game didn't succeed, because it's a solo developer making a game that presumably didn't sell super well to begin with, because like I had not heard about this game, and I keep a very close eye on the indie scene and had not heard about this until I heard about the developer quitting. So
there were talks of positive reviews though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's the developer going to their Steam page and being like, okay, it's got positive reviews. Let's, you know what, I can pull open Steam and find Summer of 58
I was doing
there.
that.
Does it
I was just about to do that.
Does it show on accounts that give reviews if they've returned the game or not?
Yes, it does. It will tell you on reviews if they have returned the game. So the game is $7 as well. So, you know, not too bad of an ask for a 2-hour playtime. I think if you're doing a horror experience that a lot of people would like, but like even now, this game only has 490 reviews. And with indie devs, I think people are a lot more likely to get them. So I would wonder if the sales for this were good enough to begin with to sustain development.
I do wonder how many positive reviews it's getting now is people giving it the thumbs up because they feel sorry for what happened.
Yeah, so we're checking this a few days later.
And I don't mean to, it could be a good game. I haven't played it. So, and it could be a good game, and I don't want to, you know, undermine the legitimate positive reviews for that. But yeah, I just thought it was worth mentioning.
Because I think what happened is, I have a theory about this. And I would say what to me is striking me as the issue is a combination of a lot of things. First, I think the developer might have slightly overestimated how many copies they would sell. That's my first thing, but that's always the case with indie devs. I don't think there's a lot of doubt about that. Now, I think what also has happened is this is a first-person like horror exploration game. Now, what comes to mind when you think of people on YouTube who play these games? You get your PewDiePies, your Markipliers, your Jacksepticeye's, right? What is the primary audience for those people?
Kids.
Young kids.
Like kids, yeah.
Who probably are
adolescent.
Those are the type of people I think will use that refund system if it's under 2 hours because they don't have a lot of money, right? They probably
they're taking from their mom's or dad's credit card.
Mom's credit card, yeah.
So I think that's what's happening here, would be my bet, is there's a lot of audience overlap with people that probably saw it in a video or something. We're like, oh, I can play this, it's short, if I get through it within that time span, I can then refund it, and probably didn't think they were doing anything bad or wrong, because they're, I would assume, young, so...
Yeah, well, they may be like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, they, you know, they may not know any better.
Yeah.
It could also be, you know, walking simulator-esque horror games don't really lend themselves to replayability as well.
Absolutely not. 100%.
Unfortunately.
I mean, that's not an issue on its own, but I think this is a case of a lot of things probably combined to cause this issue, and I think it being the excuse to exit development forever, it might be an overreaction, might also just be the developer wasn't prepared with the reality of how difficult it is to get something out there, which is like sad both ways, but...
Well, the thing that you were mentioning before, the overestimating how many copies they would sell. What I might be misinterpreting what you were saying, but why is that, and probably using the wrong words here, why is that an excuse for the people who returned the game?
Well, I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm saying I don't think this person would have made enough money anyway, right? I don't think this...
you were likening that to his reason for quitting.
I think the reason this developer is quitting is because they didn't make enough to make their next game, and obviously that makes sense. because like you can't sustain yourself if you don't make enough money to continue doing what you like to do. But that's always been the case with indie development of like so many developers do it part-time, so many developers have like joined other studios that have more job security and whatnot because of the fact that it's really, really difficult to make a game on your own and get it released, especially if you're not doing like low budget mobile games where you can kind of afford to have a smaller budget and work a little bit less expensively.
Where the app thumbnail is a picture of a screaming man.
Or as Brett has introduced me to, this developer called Dickey that makes very little Android games that he ports to different things. These games
Greatest
look like
games
N64 trash. They're really fun.
They're really good.
But they look like
Dickey?
absolute...
Dickey?
Dickey.
M.
Matt Dickey is his name. It's called Wrestling Empire, very good, but they're the kind of games where you look at them and you're going to go, this is the worst shovelware on the planet, and probably not buy it.
Oh,
Which would be a
God.
foolish
Yeah,
decision
wow.
because it is the best wrestling game without
it's
equal,
very,
I
very
think.
good. But it is
This feels like a shell website for something that Duke Nukem made.
absolutely. So I also think, because I don't know if any of you guys know Spiderweb Software. So Spiderweb has been making for like 30 years now low budget CRPGs. I think the big one is Avernum. There's also a series called Geneforge that are really, really good. They look like asset flip trash. Because the developer has openly said like what he does in his approach to making these games, because he doesn't have a lot of money to make them, is he goes and does whatever free assets he can get away with, and then will also kind of rotate in quarters by like 25% of the other assets needed. He'll either hire someone to do them or buy them from other sources like websites and whatnot that have assets available. And then every time he releases a new game, he does another quarter of the assets, so they're always like 6 years behind in what they look like. But they're really good, and they're extremely well written, so you can totally get away with making lower budget stuff like that. But reality
Scavenger
is
games are an
first-person
aesthetic
horror.
for some people.
First-person horror is not a genre you can really cheap out on. So
No.
I think that causes a lot of issues, is you got to shell out for that realistic art style.
Yeah, or you cheap out on the other direction, and you just make it look like the PS1 fad that everyone's been doing now, but just making everything low poly on purpose and putting a filter on it.
I mean, hey, that can look really good. I've been playing a lot of new Blood shooters recently, and those all tend to go for that aesthetic, and it works great. So yeah, I think you can do that, but I think there's a lot of combinations of things here to where it led to an unfortunate situation that might be better now, because I think that the tweet probably got a lot of publicity for this person and might have sold some more copies, especially considering it's not that expensive. So,
and in doubt,
that might
go
be
to
the
social
case.
media.
And then the ultra cynic in me is like, there's like a 1% chance that this tweet was a publicity stunt. I don't think it is. I absolutely doubt that, but I think there is like a 0.1% chance that that's the case.
He's going to get a lot more attention because of it, and a lot more positive reviews and people buying, out of good faith to help.
But I heavily doubt that. This does not seem like
there is merit to that thought if you want to think that, but it's very
because I think
cynical.
that is I think Activision and like Ubisoft have done that before with their actual games, where they've gone like,
100%.
oh, we're sorry about this. We'll make it super cheap, like with when Assassin's Creed Unity first came out. So
we'll make it super cheap, 15% discount.
Titanfall 2 is constantly discounted and super cheap.
Yeah, because you can't play it anymore.
Well, even before that, though, it was always like
still got a really good campaign though. So
yeah, it was always hovering in like
the
the $15 to $25 mark, and it would regularly get like
$5.
discounted. Really? Like without a sale?
Not without a sale, but it's on sale
on PSN
all the
for the longest time. It was like $5. Yeah,
that's with a sale though.
But it's on sale like
it never ended.
all the time.
The point's made. It's very cheap.
Yeah, it's not expensive. So
and not playable.
Also, I do want to mention Halo Infinite has a release date now. I thought we already had a release date.
Me too.
I thought we had a November date, and I don't know why.
And it was such like a I guess here it is.
It's December 8th.
We're not going to make
December.
We're not gonna make a slick little like reveal thing. We're just it's a Twitter post. Here you go.
Well, I don't know why I thought it released in November, because I think that maybe they had said they're aiming for the like late 2021 window, and people assumed November, December.
It's because they've given us so many launch dates before that it just kind of gets mixed up in the shuffle. That's what I think's going on, right?
That's entirely possible. All right. So, yep. Now we can talk about Gamescom. We're gonna lightning fire through most of these because a lot of it's not terribly interesting. There was an Xbox at Gamescom show, which happened.
Didn't have to, I don't think, but it happened.
I watched most of it, and I think the show's not bad. All the games that were there showed some cool stuff, but the big thing is that this felt a lot like the old school PC gaming show at E3, where they sit you down, show you like a 2-minute trailer, the developer then talks a bunch after they introduce them in a lengthy introduction. Then they talk a bunch and reiterate stuff from the trailer that you just watched, and then go back and talk a little bit more.
Was there new stuff?
Was
there
which is weird?
Was there a game from that company that was just the company on stage at E3 and didn't have a game out?
It felt
there
like
was.
It,
there is Prime Matter games here. Prime Matter's been revealing some stuff. I forget. It was like there was a culty game they're doing.
And to be clear as well, we want developers to talk when they show off their games and stuff.
Yes.
It's when they don't show off a lot, and then they basically talk about what little they had to show off for like 3 times the length.
Yeah.
Where basically nothing is said that we haven't already seen.
It's also all of these are developers
this is what
we've
it would
already
have
heard
looked like.
from.
Yeah.
Because pretty much everyone at the Xbox Game Show were people that we have already heard from that are doing DLC for games, not new games.
Yeah.
So
if you
want to
know
a lot of reiterated information.
If you want to know how to do a perfect reveal of a game, go back and watch the Guardians of the Galaxy reveal. That is the best possible way to announce and show off a game for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, that and go back to like Breath of the Wild, go back to God of War. There's so many great
God
examples.
of War was like perfect. Like I can't think of like other than like Guardians of the Galaxy, I can't think of a better like example of how to do it, because it just went right into it. It was like it was a nice reveal too, because no one knew what it was. Ugh, beautiful.
Yeah, Prime Matter is doing, I think it's called Dolmen. An action RPG thing that looks pretty cool. I like what they look like they're coming out with, but it is still, we didn't have a lot of information from them to start with. We saw a little bit more Dying Light 2, which I'm actually pretty happy about because I think it looked a lot better here.
I love me some parkour games.
I'm really excited. It's been pushed back and delayed a bunch of times, which, you know,
I'm still curious as to, they've been touting the story so much, but I feel like nobody played Dying Light for the story.
Hey, look, I'm down though. They've always had.
I'm down for it to have a good one.
Yeah, so if they can marry a good story, especially one that affects not just like the outcome of the story, but the world as much as this one does, and they can make it interesting, like,
and
I'm
it works.
So down.
That's the thing I'm doubting right now, is that it works.
Yeah. Well,
but I won't really care if it doesn't, because I'll be having fun either way. So.
That's the other thing too. It's like, I mean, as long as they can have like really, really solid, good gameplay like they did last time, even if it's not like a great story, if it affects the world in the ways that they're saying it does, that almost makes up for maybe not the most interesting story. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely
that could totally make it worth it if it's done properly, or just have a good story in general. But you know.
Yeah, overall, the Xbox stream, I think, was a whole lot of nothing. Although I did love when Age of Empires time to be shown happened, they just showed a video about trebuchets for like 6 minutes.
They did,
before even saying what the game was.
Like, I was like, what is this, a Deadliest Warrior episode?
I loved every second of it because I'm a history nerd.
Because that show was awesome, but still.
I mean, it was great. They had like advanced, they talked about how the arc of is like important to the trebuchet, how you have to like have people in these hamster wheels running to power it up. I'm like, this is incredible.
I was waiting for them to have like the ballistic gel like dummies like they do in Deadliest Warrior and just launch it at the anyway.
And then I love that they then just showed the Age of Empires 4 logo and then didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
That was the best part. That was the most effective advertisement of the show because they didn't have someone then talk for 10 minutes.
I like to think of like, oh yeah, this is gonna be some like epic reveal to the gamers. Like we all know what you're talking about. It's fine.
It was
come
great.
on.
They just show an Age of Empires logo, and all right, that was the trebuchet time, and like they didn't explain
Boom.
why they did the trebuchet
I was like,
video.
that was like their mic drop moment. It's like, oh, you want to know what this is all talking about? Boom.
I hope you enjoyed learning about watching the History Channel for 5 minutes. So, to be fair, that was the highlight of the Xbox presentation for me.
Sorry, we didn't include aliens.
Yeah, Forza Horizon still looks really good. The gunk we haven't seen in a while showed up again. Looks fun.
Mhm.
The gunk?
Flight Simulator had a whole lot of Flight Simulator talk that I completely zoned out
Yes.
of. So
Yes.
it's a lot of Flight
Yes.
Simulator.
I'm sure the Flight Sim fans are very happy, but I was very
Wherever you are.
I do think the one really big announcement from this is that Humble Games has paired up with Game Pass, and a whole bunch of Humble published indie games are coming day one to Game Pass, including Dodgeball Academia is one that just came out that's really, really fun. I'm looking forward to trying that. And there's a whole bunch of really, really fun looking ones. There's Bushiden, which is like a side-scrolling samurai game.
Ooh.
Lots of really cool stuff. So definitely check those games out when they come out. But yeah, that was basically the Xbox show. There's like tiny bit more Halo talk, but we didn't really learn anything new. So
No.
a whole lot of nothing, basically.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Gamescom proper. Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Mm,
So the enthusiasm, I can't
Yeah.
contain it.
Well, hold on there.
What a great show.
So Jeff Keighley put on the Jeff Keighley show. Brett,
mean,
Oh, Jeff.
oh, I mean,
why don't we, before we go over these announcements, Brett, why don't you give your thoughts on this show overall? Because I know you did not have a fun time.
I mean, okay. So opening night live specifically happened, and this is where Jeff was front and center. This is where his Jeffly hands were most visible, having gotten into the work that is this that is this garbage fire, or at least I thought it was a garbage fire, because it was 2 hours of what felt to me like almost nothing interesting, and there was a music break, and then there was like another music break, and
They
there
did
was
the same thing
another
they did
music
at
break.
the Game Awards again.
Exactly, and it's like at like back at all the other times, it's like I had some gas in the tank left of the car that was me saying, "Oh, Jeff wants to do a good show." Everyone else is just
well,
kind of like pushing.
everyone was there for the Elden Ring announcement.
I mean, I'm
During-
okay with
during E3,
there
but-
being 3 music breaks in a 2-hour show, but I think the problem is this shouldn't have been a 2-hour show.
No, it shouldn't have been a 2-hour show, and the music breaks didn't show anything. Like one of them was just what, Sabaton with War Thunder, right? Or World of Tanks. One
Yeah.
of those two games are exactly the
It's
same.
World of Tanks. I think.
It didn't even show. It was like, yes, this is gameplay for the game. There's nothing. The tanks roll into buildings and the buildings fall over. Incredible, wonderful, cool song, I guess. And then they just like cut it off really awkwardly. And then the other thing was like, yeah, the music from Tales of Arise is great, and
Brett,
the game is really pretty.
Do you want to tell you the
but
problem
we've already
with this?
seen these things before.
What they did with the Tales of Arise one, they specifically said they're here to play a classic song from Tales of Arise. I'm like, the game hasn't come out yet. How can it be a classic song? The game hasn't come out yet.
And that's another thing
that you have never heard.
You keep saying the game hasn't come out yet. The game hasn't come out yet. But Ryan, what if we had a whole award show that kept interrupting Gamescom to give awards to
Look,
games that didn't come out yet?
That's
Why?
not the fault of Jeff Keighley. I'm not going to fault Jeff Keighley for that because that's not his doing.
But it still doesn't make sense. It's still part of the show.
It doesn't make any
And
sense.
all these things come together to lessen my appreciation for Jeff Keighley as a human being.
And his
I
nice
felt
shoes.
and his shoes, because ultimately they're just shoes.
It's
I
almost
think-
like he's not. That
Listen,
big
they're
of a
more than
deal.
just shoes. Listen, look,
And and Wyatt, they weren't that impressive this time.
Yeah, this time they weren't as fly this time.
all right. Let me put it
No.
this way. Jeff has set the bar so high that we can't expect him you meet the bar every single time. There are times where,
Mhm.
yeah, maybe the shoes aren't as interesting. But the thing is, we're judging this on a Jeff Keighley scale, which means that his shoes, no matter the tier list we put him in, are going to be better than literally everyone else's kicks. It's just a
Yes,
matter of how much better.
relative to any mortal, Jeff Keighley will have better shoes.
I mean,
And other lies you can tell
hold on,
yourself,
hold on.
volume
You know what?
2.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right. Well, why
While
does
he's gone,
this? Go ahead, Brett.
I do because we made the joke or whatever. Like he set the bar so high. I think in reality, Jeff and all these gaming shows, like whether we want to put the blame on Jeff as a joke or not, have set the bar. Like sometimes they go out of their way to do something really cool, but especially as of late, like during these kind of like COVID times, like remote only shows, they kind of set the bar in the middle, and there are a lot of things that people have very valid complaints about. Like, why are you interrupting with so many of like whatever like same ad over and over, like really like cringy posts that aren't funny, like the same thing over and over.
Why
And
did
they
you play
don't.
music from a Sonic game?
They don't move the bar at all. Like they don't change anything. The same things that you could have complained about for a show that happened last year are equally applicable this time, but it's more of a problem because again they haven't changed anything.
Although I do think
now speaking of the bar, this is a normal person's shoe. Okay? This is a completely average run of the mill, nothing special about its shoe. All right? Do you think Jeff would be caught dead wearing some pleb shoe crap like that?
I appreciate that you just hit yourself in the face with the lace.
Thank God I had my glasses on.
I appreciate the casual toss to the side. That was a nice touch.
Yeah. All right.
Do you think
moving past Jeff Keighley's
garbage?
kicks, because we've spent far too much time on Jeff Keighley's kicks. I do want to give props to the Tales of Arise music performance. I think was the one that was the best, even though it made the least sense to me.
Yeah.
Because Lindsey Sterling is always just very fun to watch, but the rest of it was iffy. I do think I personally enjoyed this more than I did Game Awards, just because this had way less obnoxious ads and like sponsor segments in the middle of it.
Also, take like if you took a segment from like E3, right? Take Elden Ring out of it. What's left?
Yeah, I mean,
Redfall?
I think for
there were
this,
some good announcements, but there was nothing like this game broke E3. Like this game was the talk of the town.
I mean, this is
Nothing
Gamescom,
like
so I do think for me, even without Elden Ring, there was enough stuff here that was interesting to me. But it should have been like an hour-long show, if that. Like this did not have enough meat on it to be 2 hours long.
And if you're gonna do music breaks or incorporate music in any way, you have to do how PlayStation did it when they were at E3 press conferences, because they had the coolest, like they had a full orchestra there that was like playing
or what Jeff Keighley did when Cyberpunk was on. Like Jeff Keighley has had great music performances at the Game Awards, but
Grimes did do a good show because one or a few of her songs are in the
Grimes
game.
and Churches have both done really good shows at Jeff Keighley's stuff before. So.
But again, PlayStation's another good example because they play a song from that to like introduce the next game. It's almost like an overture.
No, PlayStation has also done it poorly before. Remember the Tsushima introduction?
Yeah,
which was a cool idea, but took like 7 minutes of just one man being on stage playing the flute.
But you know what I mean? Like of all the times we've seen it, I feel like when PlayStation does it well, they're like peak, because
I'll give it to God of War. I will give it to God of War. I won't give it to any other PlayStation stuff.
They had an orchestra?
Yeah, God of War had like the full orchestra come out from under the stage playing the theme, which was great.
You got to blast that Bear Mccree score when you got it, because the man's a legend.
Yeah, there's been other good musical performances. I'm actually one of the few people that I think enjoys when Ubisoft does the crazy Just Dance performance, even as memey as it is, because
they're awesome.
They're funny. They're really funny.
It's Jeff Keighley's shoes condensed into a game announcement. It's wonderful.
All right, but I do want to actually talk about some of the fun stuff from Gamescom. So they started off with a Saints Row reboot, which we didn't see a ton of gameplay footage of. We saw a little bit, but nothing with UI. It looks way more complete than I thought it would. because we had rumors about this before the show, and I was like, oh, this will probably come out in like 2023, late 2022. No, it's in February, so we're close to Saints Row. And yeah, the gameplay they showed looked good. It didn't have UI or anything, and it was clearly not like necessarily finished gameplay, but it looked way less problematic than many other gameplay snippets we've seen at shows like this before. So
Reboot.
Yep. It is a franchise
exactly
soft
does that
reboot.
mean?
So it is titled Saints Row. It's not Saints Row 5. It is just Saints Row.
And it's not necessarily Saints Row 1 that's been redone.
No, it's not. This is a new cast of characters. Your character is still the boss of a gang, but it is a different city, different characters.
Still voiced by Nolan North?
No, the lead is a woman. I can't remember her name, the VA, but she did a great job.
Which, given how off the chain Saints Row became, I honestly don't blame them for doing a whole reboot.
Yeah.
I mean, the last game was literally like
the
a
end of the world,
favorite character.
The last game was Alien
the
Invasion Matrix.
No. But you're forgetting about like the expansion that came out a year later, which was basically Johnny Gat, who's like a fan favorite character in hell. That's how they ended the series. It was absurd. It was absurd. Like, you can't really go anything from there. A reboot in this instance makes like a lot.
I think Saints Row 4 also had way less staying power than Saints Row 3 or 2, just because like it got so insane so quickly that the moments of pure insanity didn't really hit as hard. Whereas Saints Row 2 and 3 were a little bit more grounded.
Which one had the dubstep gun? I feel like that was a definite.
I think 3 did it first. 4 had it as well, I believe.
I think so. Or wait,
like that's a
no, I think it was just the fourth one. Hold on.
I think it might have been like DLC in 3, but I'm not sure. 3 had its own. 3 might have had the trumpet gun that like blasted American.
It also had
at you.
A giant sword.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all I can say.
Completely normal sword.
You mean the bat?
Completely normal purple bat.
Technically speaking, it's a bat. Yeah. It's just
with
a normal.
Saints Row 3 is a great game.
Pretty girthy handguard.
All right, moving on. We try to keep the show PG. Although, do go play Saints Row 3 if you haven't, because it is very fun.
And are of age to do so.
Yeah, and are of age to do so. I'm excited about Saints Row. I heard some people have been upset about this trailer just because I think they didn't think the characters meshed super well. I don't know. Saints Row's always been silly. It's always been wacky and had weird stuff.
I feel like there's going to be some people upset that the main character is a woman because those people exist.
Well, those people are stupid, so we don't.
Well, I don't know about that though, because I mean, Saints Row is always like you can create your own custom character, and you can have a female like lead character.
Yeah, you've always been able to have a female character.
I think what it is, from what I understand, I think that the problem is that it's not like, it doesn't seem like it's the typical like Saints Row humor. It feels very like.
This did feel very like Far Cry 4 trailer humor. it was like Ubisoft from 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago.
I think just like hardcore fans weren't getting the same vibe with like the humor and the tone and stuff, and I think that's.
I don't think Saints Row has hardcore fans.
Another thing that I think, Saints Row did before Cyberpunk did it was the being able to mix and match body type with voice type. Thingy.
Yeah. Saints Row has always let you go crazy in the character creator, and I'm betting this is going to follow suit.
If it's silly and it's funny, then like I don't really see what the problem is.
I don't need Saints Row to be anything more. So
yeah, I mean,
let GTA be GTA and Saints Row be Saints Row, and don't try to make them the same thing.
I hope it's not too serious, because that's always what made Saints Row stand out, is that it was just there's a dubstep gun, there's a giant regular bat, there was literally a clown car that released clown-like enemies, and they just came out in giant waves because it was a literal clown car.
It's incredible.
I mean,
it's a very fun game.
The fourth game dealt with an alien invasion,
where you also got superpowers and entered the Matrix. You can't forget that part. It's great.
What do you want? Some like Sopranos or like Godfather style like gangster drama? No, you don't.
No, play one of the Mafia games for that, and even then, not really that.
Play Yakuza for that.
Just play
Yakuza if you want that.
Yeah, it's.
All right, moving on, so we can talk about. For me, this was the highlight of the show, was Lego Star Wars, because they showed a lot of gameplay with no HUD. So we saw the cinematic cinematic gameplay. And there's some very
Lego's
exciting
very
things.
cinematic, Ryan.
I know, but there are things in here that I think people who grew up with Lego Star Wars games like I did are probably going to be very excited about, to where this looks like the old Lego Star Wars games, and every Lego game has you kind of auto-locking onto enemies. The camera's very zoomed out. You don't aim things yourself. You don't like attack patterns. You just kind of do whatever you want in this like brawlery thing, which works pretty well. But it's not very complicated. It doesn't scale super well once you're past your preteen years. This looks like it has third-person shooting. It's got proper melee action combat, space battles where you're flying around in like full 3D space. Yep. There's tons of really, really cool hints they gave us as to what this game's going to be in this trailer. And we got a release date of spring 2022. So still a little bit off, but
It's a Lego Star Wars?
Yeah, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga.
Yeah.
It is all the Skywalker stuff.
And I've always felt like Lego games has like a very like distinct sense of humor to it.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to describe like how it's so different, but it's just like it feels like it's still taking like the story that it's borrowing seriously, but it's like it just adds some good like visual gags here and there. And that was before they were able to start adding voice acting, because a lot of it was just like Banjo-Kazooie, like just grunts and stuff like that. So it's good to see it's good to see that that's still intact even with voice acting. I know they've been doing voice acting for a little bit, but it's nice just to see that like...
Well, the one thing that gave me a lot of confidence with the voice acting for this is they showed a scene that was partially voice acted, but the punchline wasn't. And that's when I was like, all right, they understand that you don't have to have the joke said at the end for it to be funny. Yeah. They did the punchline was just still visual humor.
They have voice actors, but they're not using it for everything, which is good. They again, it's like they have that specific style of like visual comedy, and it still feels like it's intact here, which is good.
And also, it just looks fun. So
it gave me this entire trailer gave me more Star Wars vibes than the entirety of Rise of Skywalker. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Than the entirety of the last trilogy.
Hey, this trailer might have had a more sensible narrative than the Rise of Skywalker. So I'm excited to see how they try to address it in this game.
Hopefully, with
I'm sure it'll be really funny.
They just brush it off.
I wonder if they just they might just turn Rise of Skywalker into mostly a joke, which
that would be awesome.
That'd be incredible.
So you guys know the whole thing about the throne room fighting scene in the second movie? I think it is. I can't wait to see what they do with that.
It's gonna be bonkers.
Well, because I mean, it's still Disney's license, so it really comes down to like how much of a joke can they turn certain things into, because Disney wouldn't want like Lego just...
I mean, they've turned the "I am your father" line into a joke before.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna go pretty crazy.
But that was in reverence, right? It wasn't, because what I feel like what you guys are asking for is like in spite, like to like. Spite.
No, I don't mean in spite. I just mean they need to like never take it seriously. It's one of the few moments where I think like the story of Rise of Skywalker in Lego form is the one time they can let loose and make everything be a joke. Because nobody cares enough about the story of Rise of Skywalker for it to need to be coherent the entire time.
The only people that still care about it are Disney executives that are still trying to milk money off of it.
And do you think they're going to play a video game? They're not going to play a video game.
No, but they know that a lot of people are going to play this one.
You know what? They're still milking it, because there's that new Star Wars hotel that's...
Yeah.
Oh my... Have you seen how much it costs for a night for one person?
I don't want to know. I almost don't want to know.
It's got to be like $1,000-something, right?
Oh yeah,
it's stupid. Yeah,
that'd be very expensive.
And to be clear, what you guys are asking for, I do want 100%. I would love that entire thing to be turned into like a Monty Python, like an extended Monty Python skit or something. I'm just saying, I'm not getting my hopes up for it.
Oh, neither am I. But
go to the Death Star. The Death Star is a silly place.
All right, now we can kind of rapid pace it through the rest of the Gamescom announcements, because most of them were pretty.
I got your joke, Alex. That was wonderful.
Most of these weren't super huge announcements. We got Death Stranding Director's Cut, more stuff about it. It looks like more Death Stranding, a little bit goofier. I'm in. Just let me play it.
A luggage cannon.
Luggage cannon. Yeah. You got a person cannon. All sorts
That's
of fun
the other
stuff.
thing is like that's your final big reveal that you saved for the end. To just
that's
look
the
like
director's cut. A physics engine.
If like They showed more story implications and that there was going to be more story things.
The Metal Gear
yes.
base type things in the underground.
But they showed all the things that they showed this time last time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We saw
really,
more detail this time. We saw gameplay.
I guess.
It's
yes, you
very,
can indeed race on the racetracks. Incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those trailers where it's like, yeah, this is still a thing. That's kind of there's a lot of trailers that kind of go under that like category. It's like, yeah, that this is still happening.
This felt like it was taken out of the Xbox Game Showcase, where they would just talk about a game for a little while and show some gameplay and be like, all right, this is what this
we don't have
DLC
any
is.
specific marketing thing for Gamescom, so let's just rip it out of what we had planned.
I mean, it was still like a trailer. It was at least
well,
put
I'm not
together
saying
like
it's
a
bad.
trailer.
I'm just saying not a lot of
Well, speaking of bad, Call of Duty Vanguard. Sorry.
Boy.
I'm sorry. I don't want to judge Vanguard yet because we haven't really seen enough of it.
I do.
You know what? I'll let you judge it, Alex.
Did you even watch the trailer, Alex?
Call of Duty Vanguard
Nope, I've seen other commercials for it.
is happening.
Other
It's
trailers, not
another
trailers,
operator-based Call of Duty game. So we're getting specialists back. They're all based on like real World War special ops people, from my understanding, which to me is where this could go very wrong.
Yes.
Oh.
That to me is a recipe for disaster, because you have to be respectful of the people that you're making this about. You also need to realize you're making a video game, and you need to make sure you are not glorifying violence to people that were like in minorities. And
that ship has sailed, Ryan.
Because guess what? That's what real life war was often like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this one's gonna have some controversy when it comes out. I don't know I don't think that's gonna have any bearing on if it's a good game or not. But this seems like the kind of thing where they think this is a good idea and it's not a good idea.
The situation we're in right now is a very similar situation to when, what was it, Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1 were coming out, where it was, the internet made it very clear that no one gave a crap about Infinite Warfare, and everyone was really excited for Battlefield 1. This is the exact same thing. We're because like if you watch anything Call of Duty Vanguard, really, you just scroll down in the comments and it's like, boring, can't wait for Battlefield.
I don't care about Kit Harington in space.
Yeah.
Because I think when the people that you're playing as aren't based on real people, there's another layer of suspension of disbelief there that's helping to make sure you aren't associating things with real life too much. Now that layer's been taken away, I'm a little bit concerned about, like, if this one has any tonal issues, like the airport scene in another Call of Duty game, then you're now doing it with real people. So
yes, and that can no longer get by being like a statement anymore, because now you're involving real people.
Because now you're saying it's
also
historical, which is
it feels like
find
they're
a way
being
to defend themselves.
It feels like it was a decision that was like, how can we be maximum edgy? Like, let's involve real people and just really mess things up. And it's like, well, there's a limit to that kind of thing.
And I'm towing the line between two slightly, like, tangentially kind of unrelated issues here, but this is kind of the thing that I've realized, the thing that my kind of like YouTube recommendation community thing has shown me, is that like once again the trailers have come out and people that literally look at the Forgotten Weapons gun video for like 5 minutes on the gun that they showed are like, yeah, that's wrong. That's not how that works. Why did you get this right in the last game but not in this game? And the thing is, it's a piece of machinery, but it's very obviously wrong. And if you're going to show to the world that you care that little about making that correct, what else do you not care about making very obviously incorrect?
It does not bode well for the real people that they're putting.
Look, I'm just saying, if people want hard-hitting war stories that have emotional impact and then realistic portrayals of consistent portrayals of weaponry, go watch a Gundam anime.
Yes,
because legitimately,
do that instead.
It will be.
Go watch Gundam Thunderbolt. You will regret it.
That's a Brit guarantee.
Yes,
you will love it and regret it at the same time, but you'll always have the soundtrack in the back of your mind because it's really good. All right.
Yes.
Halo Infinite happened. All right, moving on.
Yep.
What
We
happened?
didn't see anything. We saw nothing.
No.
It was a multiplayer story trailer, right? Like,
Yeah, which is that's the only thing that I took away from that whole thing is that they showed us like this whole cutscene about a character that was like saved by Spartans in the past, so she wanted to become one or whatever. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool to set up like a new side character kind of thing. Who is it and where does she fit in? And then I realized that it was a multiplayer story trailer and not a story trailer for the $60 full price campaign that you have not told anyone about yet.
Wait
And I
a
was just like,
second.
what? This is weird. This does not feel right.
Wait,
I was so confused.
The whole
there was
thing
not.
the whole thing is a trailer for their like training thing, their training mode. That's it.
For season
There-
1. Yes.
There wasn't a comma between multiplayer and story when you said that, Ryan?
No.
no, it's a multiplayer story trailer.
Yes.
Now who knows? Now who knows? It is totally possible that this character shows up somewhere in the campaign.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
we
it
don't
for a
know.
second.
I highly doubt it.
I'm
Wish I
not
had the
saying it's
press X to
likely.
doubt
I'm
button.
just saying we don't know.
I think they
I'm
are
trying to be
taking
fair.
cues from like Valorant and trying to do a character trailer for a hero shooter when Halo is not a hero shooter.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like, legitimately. So, I don't know. We learned nothing new. Halo Infinite, I don't know. Hopefully it's good. Comes out December.
You all get
You're
grappling
so
hooks and rocket
excited.
launchers. You're not
so
special.
excited.
I'll be excited when it's coming out and when I can play it. But as of right now, I'm just like,
Dramatic
we've heard
dramatic
about this game
recreation.
for like 4 years at this point.
Dramatic recreation. Halo Infinite. I hope it's good. I'm excited. Comes out
I didn't say I'm excited. I'm saying I'm excited now after
That's
the fact.
you are putting his energy level way too high. Why?
Yeah,
That's not realistic.
I'm excited to move on to the next game.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. So we're going to go through Marvel Midnight Suns next. This is
Marvel
the game
as
that...
in Marvel Comics?
Yeah,
Yeah.
MCU. Marvel Midnight Suns is
Ever heard of him before?
by Firaxis. So
No, who are
Firaxis
they?
made the XCOM games. This is that Marvel XCOM style game that we talked about as a rumor a little while ago. I'm excited for that. The concept has sold me. The trailer was pretty cool. It was a CG trailer though, so I have no clue what this game is actually looking like yet. But it's Firaxis, so if it's a tactics game, it's gonna be good.
Wolverine has his big ears back.
Yeah, Wolverine looks great. All the characters they showed, I dig the designs. Like, these don't look like the Marvel's Avengers knockoff designs. These look like they have their own identity.
I thought that was a yellow lantern. I thought these were all yellow lanterns at first. Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, there's like this whole scarab aesthetic, and they have all this crazy like Egyptian theming and whatnot, and everyone has like this gold outline. So some really cool story hints here. XCOM games have really good stories, so I'm hoping this actually is like has a
I'm
good
going to be
story to back up
crucified
the
for
gameplay.
saying that.
I
Yellow
gotta
lanterns
say,
are DC, not Marvel.
I gotta say, of
I mean,
all
the
the
aesthetic's the
genres
same.
to put superheroes into, this would not have been my first choice. Not to say that it's
Yes.
bad. It's just it's a little.
It
a
hasn't
little
been
out
tried
there,
before,
which
to
is
my
interesting.
knowledge,
Yeah,
so.
no, it's a little out there. It's
But like when I
interesting.
think about it, I'm like Squad Tactics with X-Men and Marvel Avengers seems like a good fit because like that's what the movies are about essentially.
I think it
usually,
depends on the character. I feel like some characters are like, why are you like just going from one square to another square? Like if I had to, like I'm thinking like playing XCOM and then controlling Hulk, and that would just be kind of weird.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I think
usually
the
with
characters
superhero
they've
games,
shown
you want to
look like they
be
work really well.
with superhero games. You usually want to feel like you're like up close in the action, not tacticking it from afar. But it could work.
I'm not saying it won't work. It's I just like how it's.
I'm just glad
really
it's different.
out there.
That's my thing.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
I'm glad
I
this is
like
a
that it's
different
out
take on
Yeah.
superhero games because we've gotten so many superhero games before that have been either really bad or just not great. I mean, they've all just been like mediocre action games. So give us something different. Let's try a different genre, see if it works. And Firaxis hasn't gone wrong with strategy games yet, so hopefully it is a good tactics game. All right, we got one more Gamescom game to talk about. It is the weirdest one of the bunch, called Dokev.
You're insane for liking this, Ryan. You're
Look,
actually deranged for enjoying this.
I feel like the prevailing opinion I've seen on this is that it looks fun.
I
Open world action adventure.
So this is made by the Black Desert Online devs, and that's the thing that gives me the stopping point. That's what gets me. I'm like, all right, let's calm down, Black Desert Online devs. I don't know how much I trust you with multiplayer games, especially ones that look like they're aesthetically playing towards children.
I'm excited they aren't sexualizing the children.
Well, well.
Oh no! How are you going to prove?
Well, there was. This is the other thing that's giving me pause. Is during the cinematic trailer they showed at Gamescom, one of the children powered up into, I wouldn't call it a sexy outfit, but it was, they were in a more revealing outfit than they were in when they initialized the transformation, the like magical girl power.
I'm rewatching the trailer and it just happened.
I'm just like, I feel like whenever anyone sees that, they're just gonna be like, excuse me.
No,
Dokev videos trailer.
But it's not on screen for more than like a second, and I don't know what it is. So I don't know. But yeah, the gist of this is it's supposedly this super weird social game where you have some cool Pokemon inspired things where you collect these, like, I think they're called Dokebis or something, where you fight them and then you get to collect them as companion characters. But it's also an MMO in a shared social space, so you can like go skateboarding, do some Jet Set Radio tricks and stuff. It looks like a good time to me because it was just people running around in an open world with skates, and I was like, yeah, I'm down for that.
The world itself looks beautiful,
and it looks really good. The character design, I'm iffy on. I don't like the stylized.
There's so many predators that play this game.
It doesn't fit with how they've
the environments and the characters don't match up.
No, God, I just saw the.
You see, it's weird. It's weird. I can't defend that.
Whenever I see that where like a game has like character design that doesn't match like the world design, it always feels a little asset flippy because that's what happens when you.
But this is clearly like super high production value is the thing.
No, it is. It's just
thick thighs.
It's just in my brain. You know what I mean? In my brain, it kind of like crosses the streams because that's what you see in a lot of asset flip games. You get a lot of different art styles because they're just working.
To me, it feels like the environment probably should have been more stylized than it is. It looks a little bit too realistic for me, but
they went a little too hard on the environment.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of the characters like porcelain doll faces.
Yeah,
it's a weird uncanny valley to me where they're not like anime children, they're not like real children, and I can't place them on that spectrum in a way that makes sense, and that bothers me.
It's that chibi porcelain doll proportions with the realistic fabric simulation.
And they also look really big compared to the environment. Like, look at them moving around. They are not normal sized children. They're
oh yeah, that's a 4 foot tall toddler.
Yeah, they're big. So
also with like the clothing and like the fact that they're on skateboards, it kind of reminds me of like Splatoon's kind of aesthetic almost because they both have like a 90s skater dude kind of like aesthetic or like vibe.
Well, I think what they were going for is I don't know if anyone here has seen the movie Summer Wars. It really looks like the virtual world in Summer Wars.
Wait, I think I have. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
That's a surprise.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. Is the virtual world in that? I'm okay with that aesthetic. It just isn't quite meshing well, and we don't know when this game comes out yet, so it might be pretty early in development so far.
Catchy song as well, gotta say.
They played it for too long though. I got bored of that song after 2 minutes.
It was a long trailer for.
It kept going. This was one of those trailers that like we thought it was about to end, and then it kept going, and it was super high paced the entire time.
Which is very similar. What was the other game that the
Crimson Desert
Online?
Crimson Desert
did the same thing. It went on for a long time, but with that, it kept like upping itself with what was in it.
Yeah, this started high and just kept the same level of intensity the entire time.
Yeah.
Whereas Crimson Desert was like getting progressively more interesting as it was going on.
Also, I gotta say, I gotta point out anytime I see like in these kind of presentations, whenever there's low frame rate, I always raise an eyebrow.
This is low frame rate.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This also doesn't look like gameplay. Yeah, it clearly is gameplay, but it looks like they're pushing this on like engine level assets.
Where's the
very
HUD?
Staged.
It's too high poly as well. Like these are not the character
There's no
models as they
way.
would look in the game. These look
Yeah,
There's
like
and the
no
particles
way.
too. The amount of particles is like
the particles doesn't
hard
surprise me
to look
'cause
at.
this is Unreal
Insane.
5.
Also, the draw distances. I'm looking at this shot where it's kind of overlooking like a coastline. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I have
There's
a feeling
no
that's
way.
probably where it's going down. Is I'm betting they have that draw distance cranked too high for the trailer, and then they also
what's
have
yelling
much less
timber?
stuff for trailer.
That's the
Yeah.
No,
Crazy particle effects.
okay.
All right,
No one got my joke. I
I got it like 5 seconds later, but I'm not gonna give you excitement for a Kesha joke. So
Oh, I did get it.
Well done, Alex.
good,
Well done.
good on the draw.
I have never claimed to be smart.
Any more Dokev thoughts or Gamescom thoughts in general? No? Great. All right. So our second topic, which we got a little bit of time left for, is reboots, because Saints Row is getting a reboot. So I thought we'd talk about reboots. All right? And so this time, we're going to play a game, as we always play games on this show. And what I want you guys to do is name to me a franchise that has gotten a reboot game. And I'm considering soft reboots, hard reboots. A reboot is a game that's not a remaster, but is a new starting point for a franchise generally. It might still be canon, so like perfect new example, God of War 2018 is still, it's a continuation of the story of the old God of War games, but it's also a fresh starting point for new players, and it's a very different type of game.
I
Right.
didn't play a single God of War game before it, and
And it made
I
for
perfect
thought
the
sense.
most part, everything made sense.
I
Yeah.
thought you were going to state a certain game that has a free trial, Ryan, and that's critically acclaimed.
That game's not a reboot.
I'm pretty sure a reboot-esque event
It's
happens.
a reboot of itself, but Final Fantasy XIV is not a franchise reboot, because Final Fantasy XIV is
No, it's
just
not a
is a game.
franchise.
Yeah, I'm talking about franchise reboots. All right. So what I want each of you to do is name to me a franchise that has gotten a reboot, and we're gonna go until someone can, and that's the loser. This game is a loser, but not a winner. Hey Brett, you look
What
the
order are
most
we going in?
disappointed by this, so go first.
It does. Okay. If not, then I've already lost. But then does Silent Hill count? Does PT count as a game?
You know what? I would say I'm gonna leave that to the council. What do you two think?
Sure.
All right, we'll count PT.
I'm in. I made it. I made one.
We'll count PT because it was gonna be a reboot. I put that
And-
that way.
And you can play it, so it's a game.
Well, not
so
anymore.
therefore-
but-
Can you
Well,
still,
you
It
could at
literally
one point
says
play it.
playable in the title.
There you go. There you go.
It says P in the title, Wyatt.
And for those who are wondering, the way I am saying what is and is not a reboot is I'm going by Giant Bomb's soft reboots or franchise reboots.
Oh.
Because Giant
Thanks for
Bomb has
giving
a
me the
whole
cheat
list
sheet,
of
Ryan.
these.
So what you're saying is I should have this
no.
website open right now.
No, I'm saying you
No.
absolutely shouldn't. Because if you cheat, I will ban you.
You will never
be
return ever.
disqualified from any future games and automatically lose all of them. All
He's
right,
going to
God.
come to your apartment with the ban hammer.
Alex, you are next.
Okay.
Can you do it?
Ooh, Sonic.
Sonic? I'm gonna say Sonic has had like 5 or 6 reboots.
Yeah. You're
So,
good for the
yes.
next like
So
12
can I say
rounds.
Sonic? So can I say Sonic again?
No, the franchise has been taken. Sonic's been taken. All right, Wyatt, what do you got?
I got Prey.
Yep, Prey, definitely a franchise reboot. All right, Brett, back to you.
The Spider-Man count?
Yeah, that's well.
Because they're not related.
I convinced
to the,
myself
to the
yes,
older...
but then I was like, wait a minute, it's not the same franchise or developers,
But it's Spider-Man.
but it is Spider-Man. As
It is
the title.
Spider-Man.
You know what? I'll
As
say
someone who
Spider-Man
hasn't played
counts.
any of them, they're Spider-Man.
I'll say Spider-Man counts, but future superhero games are disqualified.
Okay.
The
Competition.
superhero games. Okay.
All right, Alex.
Mega Man.
You know what? I'll count
Man
Mega
10.
Man. I'll count Mega Man Battle Network as a reboot,
Well, Mega Man
or Mega
10,
Man Legacy.
Mega Man 10 that came out a little.
But
while
that's
ago.
the 10th game in the
And
franchise.
I was a little
Part of
Well,
the
hesitant.
reboot
technically, God of War
qualification.
is God of War 4.
I was
Well, it's not in the
a
title.
little hesitant on this one. Okay, based on the title, because I was going to say then there's Mighty Number 9, which was spiritual successor, not really reboot, and then
Are
the
we
next
adding
is Mega
spiritual
Man.
successors to
No,
this,
I don't think
or-
No,
so.
we're not.
No.
But then I think
Mighty
a
Number
Mega
9,
Man
I would not
game-
have accepted.
Yeah, but then another Mega Man game came out after that, and that's what I remembered.
Yeah, there's been Mega Man Battle Network, Mega Man, I think Legends is the one that they like tried to reboot it as a 3D brawler shooter thing, but it was like way before 3D shooters had proper control schemes, and it didn't work super well, but it's still really fun, so... Yeah, alright. Wyatt.
I'm gonna pull a real wacky one. Out of
Okay.
nowhere. Asteroids.
Asteroids.
So there was during the 360 and PS3
I know the game
era,
you're talking about. I know the
it was
game
this,
you're
like,
talking about.
gritty. It was this like gritty, hardcore reboot of Asteroids.
Gritty hardcore.
Oh no!
No,
I
it
meant
sounds
Space
ridiculous,
Invaders.
but it's real. This is a
No,
real
I
game.
meant Space Invaders. I meant Space Invaders.
No,
My bad.
Asteroids had one too.
Oh, it did. Okay, well then, there you go.
I don't know that it ever came out, but I know it was
Oh,
happening.
right. Okay, so
Well,
here's the
this-
thing. So here's what happened with that one. Right, was that asteroids classic? Like your spaceship flies around, you got to shoot the asteroids so that you don't run into them. Right. This asteroids that came out, still published, not developed, but published by Atari, was a first-person open-world survival game.
It's wild.
Where you had to shoot asteroids down from the sky to get resources from them, and they wanted to call it an asteroids game.
Huh.
I am not kidding. This is a real thing.
It is
this
wild.
Is when, this is when Atari was like bought by some other studio. They were basically rebranded as like Atari but different, and then the basically the new management was trying to just like, God, we have all these old properties, let's just
And
make
it
new
was
games
one
out
of the
them.
first Steam early access games.
Yep.
Which is now no longer available on Steam because it
No.
never came out. So
Yep.
It's been delisted. All right. Brett, what do you got next?
Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry. All right, DMC Devil May Cry?
Yes,
All
Devil
right,
May Cry.
we're
Devil
counting
May Cry.
The bad reboot is in.
Yes,
Mhm.
because that's the reboot.
That is the
well, I
reboot
guess
one.
five counts, but 5 only counts as a reboot because
I'm not counting ones that are numbered games in the franchise.
Yeah.
Because the number breaks the soft reboot. Because that's telling people you can't start here easily.
Yes.
All right, Alex, what do you got?
Wyatt, you've somewhat forced my hand. Pac-Man.
Yeah,
I
let's
have
had
a-
a couple.
Yeah, the arcade
I
game.
had
have
a couple.
I have a Pac-Man game for my DS Lite.
I think I have
that
like
is-
Pac-Man Tennis somewhere.
Well, the one that comes to mind in terms of reboot is a Championship Edition, which is just this like insane, like just absolutely juiced
Yeah.
version of like classic Pac-Man.
Oh no, I have a Pac-Man that's almost puzzle adventure game. Not
That's
the
the one
regular.
that I had too. I have
Oh.
the same one Alex had. I don't remember
I'm
what it's
s-
called.
The last thing I remember is being stuck pushing around ice blocks and doing something with mirrors in a level.
All right, Wyatt, what reboot have you got for me?
I have to start writing them down before I forget.
Yeah, you
Uh,
the
my
high
brain can't
stakes
handle that
game of
much.
reboots.
Bionic Commando.
Yeah. That's the one I was actually just thinking about. Bionic Commando got a 3D reboot that was pretty good on the Xbox Arcade.
No one liked it.
Hey, I had fun with that game.
Is it like 3D, like a 2.5D?
It's
kind of thing, or
2.5D.
like full 3D.
It's
Okay, because there was a full 3D one that everyone.
I did not know about that one.
Okay, there was a full 3D one, and it was like super gritty, like super serious reboot, and their whole twist was that you're like avenging your dead wife, but your bionic arm is made out of your dead wife. That's like the big twist
Oh,
Yeah.
at like the end of the story. Stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, but I thought it was funny.
All right, Brett, you got a reboot for me?
Doom. The new Doom, 2016
new
Doom.
Doom? Alex.
does the reboot game have to currently be out and not announced, or not just announced?
It can be announced so long as it's existing.
If we're accepting PT, I think we can bend the rules a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit in some areas.
I've ruined the rest of this game by bringing that in as
Thanks,
the first
Brett.
thing.
Thanks, Brett.
You're welcome.
Hey, we've already had to start pulling out arcade games, so someone's got to be close to running out.
And reboots have to be from the same company?
No, it just needs to be a spiritual success.
Yeah.
It needs to be a game that is in the series that it is coming out as, but it doesn't need to be the same developer. It doesn't need to be same gameplay.
Yeah.
That makes my list a whole lot longer. Thank you, Wyatt. Bionicles.
Bionicles. Do we
Do you
have?
mean in real life or the games? Because I don't think.
Do we
the
have
game.
confirmation that there is a Bionicle game in development that is not a fan game?
No, it's only the fan game.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we
I
just
don't
have
know
the
if it
fan
was-
game. That's not a franchise reboot.
Yeah.
This needs to be an official
We'll
reboot.
we'll give Alex a pass because he didn't know.
Yeah, we'll give you a pass like I gave Brett a pass on Spider-Man one time. All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Everyone
Wyatt.
gets one extra life. My turn. I'm gonna say Alone in the Dark. Again, part of that Atari got rebranded and they made some crappy
Some weird stuff.
I think it was like a horde mode type of thing. For Alone in the Dark. Specifically, it was called Alone in the Dark Illumination because you had to turn on a bunch of lights to attack all the monsters. So, and it was also a co-op game, which means you were neither alone nor in the dark.
In the dark.
So,
yeah.
Yep.
so they just did a great job with that. Well done.
All right, Brett. Can you top Alone in the Dark Illumination?
Can I have a couple seconds to look through my Steam library for a little longer to see if I can get any inspiration?
No.
Does Duke Nukem Forever count?
Yes, that does count. That was a
Oh.
reboot.
Let's go.
That was an attempted
Let's
reboot.
go.
I didn't say they had to be successes.
Oof.
All right, Alex.
I'm trying to really dig deep into my nostalgia. Think like, what's a like? There's
I'm just
bound to be
thinking
a
of
lot
like
of. There's bound to be a lot of Nintendo type.
I'll give you. Think
Mario.
of
Mario.
what Mario game was. I don't think there's been a reboot of Mario.
No,
It's-
no.
New the.
Come on, Alex. Come
no,
on,
the-
Alex.
So the N64 is a remake. Mario 64 is a remake, or is that?
You're stretching it thin and not making any sense
That,
anymore.
that
bud.
that's still part
And
of
that's
Mario
coming
franchise. It's
from
not a
Brett.
reboot.
That's coming from Brett. You're stretching it too thin.
Okay.
You've lost the plot.
One last chance. Battletoads.
Yep.
Sure,
Battletoads, 100%
saved
counts.
it in the nick of time.
that works.
I think that's my
Man.
last one.
All
I'm
right,
out.
Wyatt.
Oh no.
Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Wolfenstein reboot with New
New
Order, whatever it's called. All right, Brett. You gotta pull out the deep cuts. You know, one such deep cut that I've been thinking about ever since it came out is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. That was made after the
Yeah.
gritty movie that happened.
Yeah.
The terrible Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like stealth brawler was not good.
Well, they also have another Turtles in Time game, right? Like the co-op.
There's a new one coming out. There's a
Right.
Shredder's.
I mean
Revenge,
that
think it
counts,
is.
right?
That's not
That
a
counts.
reboot. That is like
It's-
just
It's
a,
rebooting
It's
the
the first
franchise.
one in a while.
It's
but-
rebooting the franchise.
I don't trust that that's a franchise. That
There's
is
been like
a
3 of them. There's been like 3 or 4 of them.
yeah, but they're not related. They're not like a series, right?
Yeah.
It's not
They are.
like a reboot of the thing because those games are still really good and everything, so they don't need to reboot them. Whereas the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows was just like their attempt to do a really
These
bad
rules are
game.
funky. These rules are funky.
What? They're funky.
I have
like
to have
good
limits
cheese.
somewhere, Wyatt, or else this will go forever.
It's a funky rule set right here.
I have one, I
Yeah.
think. Star Wars Battlefront. Because there's the old
Yep,
ones
that's
and
a
then there's
reboot.
the new ones.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, did you think of one in time? There's a couple of obvious ones left. You guys have been going for deep cuts, but there's quite a few big names up here that are full reboots. Come on, Alex.
It's almost. I can see myself in my camera, and it looks like I'm hurting to think. Oh God.
Ubisoft's done like
What's-
4 of
What's
them.
who's that stupid purple dragon?
Stupid.
Spyro.
It's a remake, a remaster.
No,
it's a
there
reboot.
was
Was
a
there
bad
one?
reboot of the Spyro franchise on the
Oh,
GameCube. I think
no.
that
Oh,
was
was
like
that like Year of the Dragonfly?
yeah, it
or
was the
something?
Dragonfly
Yeah.
one that tried to reboot it into like get an
Oh.
edgier look. It was
Oh,
bad,
I,
not good.
I
Yeah.
wait.
Cool.
No, maybe that shouldn't count for me. Then I was thinking of the new the newest
No,
Hey,
that's
you said
fine.
it. You said it. So
it
it's
works. It works. It works.
That's fine.
Right. You're in for
If
one more
PT
round.
counts, it's fine.
All right, Wyatt.
Now, shit.
Are we? Okay, I mean we counted PT, so this should be fine. Commander Keen.
Yeah, that's a reboot of a franchise.
Yeah. There's a mobile game, I think.
Yeah.
See, the reason I was hesitant to add it was because I don't think it's actually in development anymore. I think they like canceled.
Yeah, but they announced that
It-
at like E3, so that that counts.
Okay, that counts. Cool.
All right,
Enough
Brett.
thought and manpower was put into it.
Even for Commander Keen.
Come on,
Even for
there are
Commander
some
Keen.
big ones left on this list.
And they're just whoosh. They're whooshing.
Does Modern Warfare 2019 count as a Modern Warfare reboot?
I don't know if it's safe to
'Cause
say Call of Duty has ever rebooted.
No, but he's specifically
it?
talking about like the Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
Like it's a
which is like a
reboot for the
sub-franchise,
characters.
I guess. Yeah,
It's a reboot for
'Cause,
the
like,
characters.
I leave that
and
to the
stuff.
council. Does the council say that is a reboot?
I do.
All right,
I don't know enough to say no.
Alex.
It's weird to think of like Call of Duty as separate like series, but that's kind of what they are. You've got your Black
Yeah.
Ops characters, you've got your Modern Warfare characters. I know way too much about this, and I'm going to shut up now.
All right, Alex.
Good job.
Do you have a reboot for me? I believe that you can do it.
On Nintendo, what else do you have? Let me milk you.
I was about to sing the Jeopardy theme, but I don't think we can actually do that.
No.
We can get away with like 5 seconds of it.
Can we just give him like a ticking clock?
You're
Like
not
a-
going to need that 5. I can't think of anything.
All right.
I don't have a buzzer, but
Do we want to keep going?
And-
Oh yeah,
or
wait. This
are
is
we-
elimination.
Okay.
Oh God.
We're getting a
I'll,
ranking.
I'll put
All right,
it
Wyatt.
on my screen.
I'm weirdly getting really into this.
All right, Wyatt. What's a reboot?
Medal of Honor.
Yeah, Medal of Honor got a
Yep.
reboot. All right, Brett.
This is I keep like picking at the stupidest stuff, but does Metal Gear Solid count as a Metal Gear reboot? Because the
I'll
first
count
two, like, all right, we're going.
I'll
We're
give Metal Gear the credit because it is a complete reimagining of an existing franchise. So
Yes.
Wyatt, come on, one more. You can do it.
Zombie U.
Was
Is-
Zombie U?
Yes,
Reboot?
because
Zombie
there is an old Ubisoft game named Zombie, spelled exactly the same way, Zombi. That
God,
was like a
you're right.
PC game or something.
Oh,
I think you're right.
How do you
Yeah.
know this stuff offhand?
I like video game history, man. This is like
Okay.
my thing.
I don't know if that counts because I think Zombie U and Zombie are the same game from what I'm seeing.
No, there's no way they're the same game. It's a reboot.
I think
There's
they're
no
the
way-
same game because Zombie was released in 2015. Okay,
No,
when
no,
was
no, no, no,
Zombie
no,
U
no, no.
released?
Hold on. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. So there's Zombie
oh,
U.
his copy of it.
No. There's Zombie and Zombie U. That's correct. However, there was an original Ubisoft game called Zombie. It was in like the 90. Oh, God. Hold on.
Okay, so Zombie on PC is Zombie U, but for PC. They just removed
on.
the U from the name.
I'm talking about a game from like from 19. Hold on.
Ryan,
Hold
have
on.
we hit on any of the obvious ones that you were thinking
No,
of?
No,
Or has it
okay.
just been
haven't.
all
No.
deep cuts?
Okay. Zombie 1986 from Ubisoft.
Oh my
Spelled
God,
exactly
he's
the same
right.
way.
How do you know this?
Let's go.
Ridiculous.
Let's
It's
go.
Ubisoft's first thing. It is their first game in 1986.
What a classic! Truly, what a classic.
I mean, he's right.
I was
it is a
watching-
reboot
I was-
of Zombie.
I was watching some video and it just happened to have this fun fact
All
about
right.
that, and it just popped into my brain just now.
Okay.
What reboots did I miss now that I've been knocked out?
Brett,
Oh.
you got one?
I feel like Assassin's Creed has to have rebooted itself at least once.
It is not rebooted. It's still continually
No,
going.
that
Not.
doesn't.
It's still somehow the same god awful
Yeah, it's the
story.
same
They're
thing.
still going.
It's not a reboot.
I'm so stupid.
You see what I mean,
I
Alex? There's
am
like some
too.
super obvious
Wow.
ones that are left.
Wow. I got Spyro.
Great face, Brett. It's really racking the mind.
Oh, the cogs are turning, but
All right, 5, 4.
Shadow Warrior.
Shadow. Yep, there you go. You kept yourself in for one more round. Wyatt.
We're going, baby.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot has not gotten a reboot.
Well, hold on. There's a couple of instances that were. I mean, first of all, the fourth one. Here's
That's
the
not
thing.
a
If it's a
reboot.
fourth,
That's a
The
numbered
fourth-
entry in the
use the
series.
number, it's not a reboot.
but it can still be a reboot if it's like a dormant.
It's the same
franchise.
game. It's the same game though. There's no changes to Crash. Crash 4 is the same as Crash 1.
We're talking about what? Okay. Hold on.
Crash Bandicoot has not gotten a reboot. You're not gonna get this.
No, yes, it has. Hold on. Would you consider Crash of the Titans?
What is okay?
As
What
a-
is a
as a reboot.
spin-off and what is a reboot? Because I
This is
feel
a
like some of the things
mainline
we're
entry.
considering.
This was done
are-
by a different studio with a completely different art style and like kind of like a very different story. Like Uka Uka. All the
I think this.
characters look
I would count this as a
completely different.
spin-off, not a reboot. This
It's a
wasn't.
mainline entry, though.
Yeah, but this wasn't them trying to turn the franchise into this. This was a weird
It's
thing
also
that
a very.
happened.
But those were the people that were making Crash games because it wasn't just Crash of the Titans. There was a second one that the name of it escapes me off the top of my head.
That's a
But that
spin-off.
was-
That's not a reboot of the mainline franchise, right? Because it kept going the entire time. I remember watching like a history of Crash video that went through all of these, and most of them were really bad, but they're not reboots.
I did
He's
as well.
educated.
No, I did as
Oh.
well. I don't know if we're talking about the same video, but like
We probably are.
it's.
But this is not a reboot of Crash Bandicoot.
I disagree.
Wyatt, this is not a
it's a
reboot of Crash
different- it's-
Bandicoot. I can't believe you're going to Crash Bandicoot reboots before the rest of the ones on this list. by the way.
Well, look, we're all having a hard time, okay? And also, I wanted to specifically look for the weird stuff, but like,
You know what? Everyone else got one, so I will give you one. But just so
God.
can I
you
make
know,
one,
this
can I
is
make
not
one last
a reboot.
argument?
No.
Can I make
no,
one last argument?
This is not a reboot.
It is as much of a reboot as DMC is a reboot.
No, it's not. Because DMC,
It is.
they had said that Devil May Cry was dead. Like, Devil May Cry did not exist.
They even joked about it being dead in the game.
Yeah, like, Devil May Cry was not going to continue. This did not kill Crash. Right? Crash was not
No,
dead.
I'm saying that's that it was an attempt at a reboot.
I don't think it was. I don't buy that. I buy this as a side thing.
Come
I'm
on.
going to give it to you because you pulled out Crash of the Titans as a game. But this does not fit the category of soft reboot.
You can't filibuster this quiz. This quiz, Wyatt.
Why is this fucking out
The main criteria for me for a reboot is it is trying to sell it to a new audience or like get a new audience for the franchise. I don't think Crash of the Titans.
It's a very different game than
Look
the
at this
other
cover
Crash
art.
games
No,
are.
nobody is buying Crash Bandicoot based on this game.
No.
Okay, you can't base that off of a joke.
All
No,
right,
no.
Brett.
This is a very different type of game.
No,
too.
I know it's a
kind
different
like
type of game, but we didn't give Alex Mario 64. We can't give you Crash of the Titans. You're passing through this
This
round
is your
because Alex
freebie.
got a freebie, but this is the exact same situation as Mario 64, just on the
We've all
opposite
used-
end of the spectrum.
We've all used our lifeline now.
I'm obviously
Yes.
very confused about our accepted understanding of what a reboot
I have
is,
a
but
master
anyway,
list
okay.
here. If it's on the master list, or if you can
you-
justify
can
it
you
as being a
tell-
reboot.
Can you tell me again, like, what your when you're judging a reboot? What's the
I
criteria?
am going by the Giant Bomb reboot franchise reboots list. All right, that is my primary category. But if you can pull out Alone in the Dark, which is actually on this list, I don't think Crash.
Oh,
of the-
wait a minute. Hold on. There's 2 Alone in the Dark reboots. I completely forgot. There's 2. There's one just called Alone in the Dark,
It's
and
the
then
same
there's one called Alone in
franchise.
It's the same
Dark
franchise.
It's the same
We're moving
franchise.
on, Wyatt.
It's the
We're
same
moving on.
franchise.
I just wanted to say a fun fact. All right, let's move on.
Brett, what do you?
Okay, I will continue my trend of somehow getting by on throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks. Does Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga count?
Yeah,
Because
that
it's
does. There you
I
go.
I have cracked the code.
That's one of the obvious ones that I have.
Yay!
Nobody has said.
I have done
All
it.
right, Wyatt. Give me a
Oh my
reboot.
god.
Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
That is a spinoff. That's not a reboot.
Are
Because
you
that was
sure?
still
I don't
that was still
know.
Is
canonical.
Nuts and Bolts the racing game?
Yeah, 'cause
No,
Nuts and
it's
Bolts
a-
was still canonical as a continuation of the franchise.
Well, so is God of War, and that's
Yeah, but
considered a
Nuts and
reboot
Bolts is
as
a
well.
direct sequel, right? It is a direct follow-up to the last Banjo-Kazooie.
No, it's not. It takes place like many, many years after. The whole starting joke of Nuts and Bolts is that they're like fat and washed up because they haven't done anything in God knows how many years because there hasn't been another Crash game since N64.
That's meta humor on its own thing. I don't.
That's part of the story.
I think I'm on Wyatt's side. with
All right,
this.
Brett. If you're on Wyatt's side, Wyatt, you got to pull out a reboot that is a proper franchise reboot. I'm asking.
You reboots.
You got to
I don't
get rid of the
understand.
subtitles, right? If it's got a subtitle, if it's got a number, that is still part of the franchise, right? These are the games we're looking for, the one-word remakes. Remember that we all complain about when they remake a game with the same name.
You know, or
right,
maybe
I
something
got
with
one.
Fall
All right,
or Rise.
Brett, what do you got?
Oh god, this is a Microsoft Flight Simulator.
No, I'm not giving you Microsoft
No.
Flight Simulator. I'm not giving you Microsoft Flight Simulator.
But what
Which
if
means,
If I have to be harsh to Wyatt about Banjo-Kazooie,
Yeah.
you don't get Microsoft Flight Simulator.
which means Wyatt has one chance to get this next one right.
If Brett can't think of another one, so you know what, we're gonna do sudden death now,
Oh
which
god.
means Wyatt, think of one more. You can do it. I believe in you. There's so many left. There are so many left.
XCOM.
I have full
What?
faith that there is.
XCOM.
XCOM, yep. Enemy Unknown is a reboot. All right, Brett.
Oh god. Oh.
Thank you. Ubisoft's got a whole bunch, Brett. EA's got a whole bunch.
Ubisoft's never in my brain. I hate them. Oh, Dead Space is getting is that a reboot or a remake?
It's a reboot. That's a reboot. It's not a remake.
We're going.
Oh
We're
my
still
God.
going.
All right. Wyatt. You've got this. I know you play
I know,
EA
I
games
know.
and Ubisoft games. You know
I
there
know.
is one.
I know.
God.
All right.
I'm still laughing at
5,
one particular thing on this list.
4,
That's
3, 2.
Beyond Good and Evil.
Beyond Good and Evil? It's got 2 at the end. It's, you know what? I'm going to give that to you because there's no way in hell they can justify that game as being a sequel to me. Even though that is my one exception to the 2 rule. Because that game is not a sequel as much as they may want it to be. And in fact, I'm not even sure it's going to get made at this point. Brett.
don't say that.
There was a Thief reboot at one point.
There was a
wasn't
Thief
there?
reboot. Yep.
Thief. I don't know what it was called.
It's called Thief.
but Thief.
Thief.
Oh, all right.
It's a one-word
We're
title
going
called
with
Thief.
that.
All right, Wyatt. 5,
Hold on. Fuck.
4,
The countdown doesn't help.
2, 1.
There's a Bioshock reboot coming out, right?
That has not been confirmed
Is
yet.
there?
Bioshock?
There's
They're
been
talking
rumors
about-
about. No, we have
Is it a
no
reboot or
confirmation of
another
a new
game in
Bioshock.
the-
No. Hold on. Haven't they said there's one? Like
Nope.
they have said.
Nope.
Hold on.
That we have no confirmation of a new Bioshock. I know you're looking for it, Wyatt. We don't have confirmation of this
You
because we
look
would have
so
talked about it
angry.
immediately on the show if we did.
Oh my God.
Wyatt. All right, I'm gonna give you 5 more seconds to think of a new one. 5,
Tech Radar, new
4,
Bioshock game is in development.
3.
Tech Radar,
2.
right here.
That's a new game. It's not a reboot. It's a sequel. And we
That's
don't-
no confirmation.
rumor.
That is no
Oh,
confirmation.
You're asking for confirmation that it was happening. That's why I was freaking out.
No, it's a rumor too. It's not
Okay,
even.
I'm
No.
sorry. Okay, that I 110% misheard
No, we don't know that game
What-
exists to begin with.
what you were
All
saying.
right.
My
So
apologies.
5,
Crazy Taxi?
4. Crazy Taxi was a remake of the same game. We have not gotten a Crazy Taxi reboot, to my knowledge. I'm gonna say, Brett, you've taken home the cup at this point. Why it is named 3 non-reboots?
Can I say the one that I'm so angry I
Yeah.
didn't get?
Yep.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
Oh my god.
Mirror's Edge
Yeah.
has gotten a reboot.
Oh, we're so stupid.
NBA Jam is a reboot. Tony Hawk is like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Prince
See,
of
I wasn't
Persia.
sure which one. The one I had written down was 5. I didn't know if that technically counted.
No,
Is-
the
is
Tony
Grand
Hawk
Theft
game I would count
Auto-
as the reboot is the really bad Wii one that you would like actually stand on a board and do awful tricks.
Is Grand Theft Auto a reboot based on its first title, or is that just the evolution of the series?
I think
It's just
I would say
it's the evolution of
because
the
it's
series.
still directly numbered and everything.
Can I get points for pulling out some crazy weird crap though?
You can get
No one got
spiritual
points for
points.
anything.
There's no
Yeah,
points
the
for
points
any
that
of
you
got.
these.
Yeah, Wyatt, the points that you got to get that far.
Zombie. Fuck, both Alone in the Dark. Whatever.
We were all pulling out outrageous.
So we
things
are
that
we're,
no
we're
one
gonna
should
end
have
up
thought of.
talking about reboots again at some point because this game has taken
With an
20
actual
minutes.
discussion, yes.
Was an actual full discussion.
We'll
What's
just
the
do a
reboot?
part 2. It's fine.
No, well,
We
we'll
can get
lump it in
more
with remakes at
people.
some point. But we got some more time left. We're not at time yet, but I do want to ask a legitimate question.
Do
for you
another
guys.
round of the game. No.
We're out of games. Unless you guys skipped past all the obvious ones and went for the deep cuts instantly.
Yeah.
All right. So what I've
I've
legitimately
only
wanted to
got
ask is
two.
what are your thoughts on reboots of games like Saints Row, where we're getting a reboot that is, from what we know, going to play pretty similarly to the main games, but is just like a narrative restart, a new canvas. Do you think they should be reboots or just new games?
I mean, you couldn't take the story of Saints Row any further. So sure. Other reboots, other reboots in the case of where the game is old and they're trying to market it to a new audience. If I played the original game, I don't think I'm likely to play the reboot because it's aiming for a new audience then. But
Yeah,
That's
unless
just
it's
me.
like something that's really still appealing to you, like I'd say Star Wars
that's-
Skywalker Saga.
and it's going to be an
It's
issue
gonna
that
be-
I run into as I get older and
More
reboots of the
reboots
games
are
that I've been
happening.
playing. Yeah.
I think in general, like reboots are just kind of fascinating because it's a chance for people that are like somewhat removed from the original development team to be like, okay, we're gonna take this like concept, we're gonna take this name, and it's gonna be through our own like vision, like it's gonna be our own interpretation of it. And I think that alone is what like makes them so interesting to me. It's like Prey, like
Yeah.
if you compare Prey to
Prey.
the original Prey, they couldn't be more different.
Yeah.
Other
Oh,
than
God,
it's a first-person game where you shoot things.
Some
where you
vague
shoot
like
aliens.
tonal similarities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they couldn't be more different. But it's like Prey is a very arcane game, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting to be like, if Arcane sat down and was like, okay, well, how would we do this? Like, how would we make a game called Prey where it's a first-person shooter where you fight aliens? What would we do? And Prey in and of itself is just a good game, and I'm glad that we have it, even if it has nothing to do with the original. And I think it's interesting. So.
Yeah.
Coffee mug friend.
Because
Something
I'm
like
curious
that.
if like at any point when the Saints Row devs are making this new Saints Row game where they're like, maybe we shouldn't just call this Saints Row and just do a new franchise with it. I mean, I guess they did
Yeah.
kind of try that. They did Agents of Mayhem.
I mean, you
was
could.
not
It's a new
good.
protagonist.
because I'm like, well, at this point, what's the connection to Saints Row? Is it just they're calling it the same thing for the sake of like continuing the audience they used to have? Because I think in this case, it's not a reboot that is trying to reboot the gameplay. It's just a reboot trying to reboot the story. Whereas
Yeah.
like it's in the Doom vein of reboots, where it's still the same core concept. It's just new and with some new twists and whatnot. Whereas it's not the DMC type of reboot where we're going to try and do something very different, still inspired by the main thing, but just different.
Time has allowed you to get the true vision of the game out.
We're just gonna have a
In
lot
the-
less
the
white
idea.
hair.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. So, I want everyone now, for our last segment here, talk about a reboot that we've all played. I think we've all played Doom, right?
Still
Has
haven't
Alex
yet.
not
I
had a
haven't played
chance to
Doom
play Doom?
2016.
You
I
guys
have not
haven't
played
played
Doom
Doom
2016.
2016?
I've played the original. I
Yeah,
haven't played
same.
Doom 2016.
Because if you haven't played the original Doom, I don't know what you're doing at this point.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not legally alive, and if
You haven't at least
played the
tried
original
it.
Doom.
You
Yeah,
haven't at
Unless
least
you're born
tried it.
after, if
Oh.
you're born after like 2005, sure, you don't need to play Doom.
I
But
guess.
Oh, I know I was alive because somehow playing the original Doom made me motion sick.
I get
I
that.
don't
That's
get how
weird.
that's possible. Where it's just it's
I
not
I
even
get
up and
that.
down.
Because I think it's because the enemies don't move the same way the environment does, if that makes sense. So they kind of
Yeah.
look out of place, especially with how the ray tracing stuff worked and like line tracing, that how they rendered the 3D environment worked.
I played other games where you have the 2D sprites coming at you in the 3D environment, and I've been okay.
Well, those are probably
with the
newer where they're
microsoft.
actually using 3D
Yeah.
rendering techniques, because the big secret with Doom is that it's technically rendered the same way a 2D game is rendered, where it's just generating the pixels in essentially a 2D image instead of doing the whole 3D space thing.
Hmm.
It's a
A
very
lot of visual trickery.
very interesting. I'd encourage anyone who's interested in it to go read up on how the original Doom like did rendering and whatnot, because it's very interesting.
Smoke
But
and
it's the same
mirrors
way
of
as,
early
like,
video games.
all of the
in general.
maps in Doom can be created in like a 2D graph. You don't even need 3D level editing tools, because they had
2D
like a way
graphics
that
set.
you could just do height maps by like the color of the thing,
Yeah.
and
Time
you
to
wouldn't
port
even
Doom
need.
to Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, I mean I think people have done it.
I think so.
Because the maps are legitimately like graphs with different sizing. I think that changes in Doom 2, but it still can read the Doom 1 maps from what I remember, but you get like more advanced 3D levels and whatnot. It's also why in Doom you don't have like multi-tier structures generally, at least in the first game, because they like couldn't do them. You couldn't have like a room in one space and then a room on top of it unless they were different levels. So it's very interesting stuff about that. But yeah, I'm just curious as to what everyone's thoughts on in general on reboots are. Brett, if they rebooted
this-
Dark Souls tomorrow,
Rebooted
I mean-
Dark Souls.
They've every single one, including Demon Souls, has basically been a soft reboot of itself. If like all things considered, I mean that specifically would be a weird example because that's like they wouldn't have to. I would be very
it wouldn't
confused.
really be different.
It's
It'd just be
it
Elden
would
Ring.
probably just be Dark Souls. It would just be Elden Ring pretty much. It's what the Elden Ring kind of seems like it's like what Wyatt said, where you have the technology and the like manpower, money, whatever, to do what you couldn't do in the original vision of the project. Where Dark Souls has the kind of like interconnected world that you can still kind of call it like open with like a million air quotes around it, because you can kind of go through it in like a bunch of different orders and it is all interconnected, but it's not like the one big like just sheet of land that you can travel across at your own leisure like Elden Ring looks like it's going to be.
Yeah, and what's important about reboots and remakes as well is just like the timing of it. Like if they tried to do like a Dark Souls reboot, it's like it'd be way too soon for something like that. Like I
Yeah.
remember when like the Amazing Spider-Man movies were coming out and they were a reboot of the Tobey Maguire ones, but it wasn't that
But it
much.
had been like
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah,
Not even, I don't
feels,
think.
No, it was like 3. It was
It
like
was something
too
weird
easy
like
to-
that.
4, like 3 or 4, and it was like feels way too soon. Like it's bizarre, and so you have to wait for the right time.
Because
It's
that
better
time
for
also changes if what you're rebooting was bad. Because like the new Spider-Man
Mhm.
doesn't have that issue of timing, even though it is still like a very similar time frame as to the original. Just because like the second Tobey Maguire, or not the second Andrew Garfield movie was not good. Like it was not
God, no.
not good at all.
Yeah.
God no.
Many will argue the first one wasn't that good either. I
There-
didn't
I-
hate
Yeah, but I think universally
It
the
is-
second is awful.
Oh, 100%.
There are so many different things I dislike about the Andrew Garfield movies,
Yeah.
but that is for a different podcast.
Well, I mean, it was a winning formula. They had the writers of such hits as Star Trek 2, Transformers 2.
But it doesn't matter if you don't get the character right. It-
Alex.
the winning
was
writer
being-
of Transformers.
Oh,
It was a joke.
and Star Trek
Oh.
2.
Hey, at least Transformers 2 was fun. Occasionally.
Yes.
No, it wasn't. No,
Occasionally.
it wasn't.
Hey, it had some cool fight scenes.
well,
No,
speaking
the
of
rest
which,
of
did,
it,
Transfor-
not
did
so great.
Transformers get a reboot because they're no longer using Shia LaBeouf and they're going with
I
Wahlberg
don't care.
have
or-
no interest in keeping track of the Transformers
I have
cinematic
no idea.
chronology.
It's the
Good,
reboot.
good for you.
It's a
You have better
reboot.
mental health than I
Okay,
do. Then
it's a sequel in that, like, calling Final Fantasy, like, 7 to 8 is a sequel in the sense that, like, it's a sequel, but none of the characters are still there, and that's kind of how,
Mhm.
like, Transformers is now. Is that it's like
But like they don't even take place in the
Sam
same chronology, do they?
whatever his name is isn't there.
Wikipedia.
But like,
Samuel Wikipedia.
And they're fighting dinosaurs
nothing,
for some reason,
nothing
right?
about the world of those movies has changed, other than Shia LaBeouf isn't there, which means nothing's changed.
Basically, what we're saying is this has become a Transformers podcast.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Hey,
We did make a
why
Transformers game.
Why don't you
I
guys?
have the unfortunate
don't-
duty of marathoning them while also turning them into a drinking game. So
Why don't
You would
if
die.
whoever is watching, you can check out our podcast episode on the most satisfying game.
we
right?
make the
most
greatest
satisfying game.
Transformers game never made.
It'd be incredible.
Yes.
So much fun. I just want to see someone do it now.
God.
They reboot Transformers video games into that.
Yeah.
That's
Do
what
it.
we need.
Although Platinum has a pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't think you can buy it anymore. Can you?
You can.
Oh,
I think licensing became a thing with it because it used the cartoon
No.
designs.
Well,
You
thank God
know-
I got it for.
Yeah, I'm glad I got it for like
PlayStation
$2.
I got
You
it
know
for
what-
like via PlayStation Plus, so hopefully they didn't.
you know what
Yeah.
game I want to have a reboot, and that I'm gonna get really sad that it doesn't now.
What?
Infinity Blade.
Yeah.
Dude.
Or just give me Infinity Blade. It doesn't even need a reboot. Just give me the
Yeah.
same game again.
Yeah.
Just have it be like compatible with modern hardware, because that was the problem. Oh no, wait, that was a different thing. That was the whole Apple Epic thing. Never mind.
I've just
There's a
discovered
bunch-
there's a Transformers released a game called Transformers Battlegrounds last year. That looks
Does it have
interesting.
destructible transformers in it?
no, this looks
Then it's not
like
satisfying.
XCOM almost. I can't quite tell what this is.
That's
Huh.
weird.
It's a top-down weird thing. I don't want to look at it anymore.
Get it out.
It's got good reviews.
Get it out of here! Get that crap out of here! Yeah.
It has positive reviews. So, if you want to play the weird Transformers reboot, go play that. Because, yeah, I think that is the only Transformers game still available on Steam. I can't find
Oh.
any of the others.
This truly is the darkest timeline.
Which is weird, because I do remember Transformers has had a few good video games. Even the ones that were, like, bad
Yeah.
after the movies, or after the bad movies, were pretty
What was
good.
it, like the Cybertron ones, like
Yeah.
the Transformers,
Yeah, the
like
War for Cybertron.
Because those
Those
came
are
out
so
concurrently with the movies, but they had nothing to do with the movies.
Yeah, they were
They were
totally
by,
different style and everything.
High Moon, right? I think that was.
I think so. Yeah,
Ooh.
because they're third-person shooters and like action games.
Mhm.
They're
They're
actually
really
good. I think those are still
Yeah.
purchasable on consoles. I just don't think you can find them on PC. Yeah, those do exist somewhere. They're very fun. All right, with the Transformers talk, I'm gonna take it that we've concluded the reboot
guess
segment
so.
for now because we're
For now.
hitting.
I think yelling that much during the game actually is giving me a headache. Right now, so. I got really into that.
We might do
I
more
love
games like
them.
that in the future because I do like doing the trivia games. Are fun.
I love
yeah.
weird, like, obscure video game, like, history. Lore.
And it came
yeah.
in handy.
Yeah, finally.
All right. That means we're to our favorite segment of the show called Shoutouts. It's our favorite because we get to leave afterwards. All right. I'll go ahead and do mine first to give you guys a moment to think. I got to give a shout out to this weird wrestling trivia show on YouTube called Quizzlemania that gave me the idea for that game.
Good.
So, hats off to them.
Very worth it.
All right. Who's next?
Um,
Go, Alex. You got it. You got a hand raised and everything.
yeah, because I still think this is class. Yeah, sure. Shout out to the leek goat cheese and tomato crostata I made.
Nice.
It's very
Tonight.
yummy looking.
Very
it
solid.
was so much more filling than I thought it would be.
Goat cheese will do
just
that.
look like a fat pizza.
It's a pizza with pie crust. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right, you were talking next. That means you're up.
I will give a shout out to Pokemon Emerald because that's pretty much all I've been doing for the last 48 hours is grinding through a ROM hack of that game with like 700 plus Pokemon in it.
Is it the big one?
Oh.
Not the most recent version of the big one, but it's like Theta EX or something. Something like that. But it's been forever since I've played Emerald, and it really just like it was such a precious time in the franchise's history. Nothing could have possibly gone wrong.
There are some really good Heart Gold and Soul Silver ROM hacks that I learned about recently that add like all the new Pokemon and Mega Evolutions and whatnot to Soul Silver. It's crazy. Very fun.
Yeah.
All right.
I talked about this last episode when we were talking about Tsushima, but I want to shout it out again. Shout out to the Ps5 Controller Haptic feature when you're playing the flute, and there's a rumble that goes through the controller that's meant to feel like the air going through like a flute or something, and there's a different rumble for each song because it's like timed up with the song, and it feels really, really cool.
If you hold the controller up towards your ear, you can hear it playing the song as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very fun. All right. With that, we've ended the show. As always, you can find us Tuesday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on the podcast platform of your choice and YouTube. Listen to the podcast, please. Press the buttons on whatever platform you're on. I don't know what they say because we don't get to see the pages from those platforms. I think there's like a sub one. There's like the podcast. Leave a review. They're all very appreciated. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Any luck, the